Okay, so today I'm waiting on parts still for the front engine. I'm waiting on that oil pump sleeve. Um, and I think actually that's it, maybe. I don't know, maybe a couple other things. But the parts haven't come in. So one of the things that I did want to do was I want to take the dash apart because, I mean, one, the car still smells. I mean, it's just musty. It needs to be taken apart. It needs to be cleaned. God only knows how many cobwebs and crap there is behind that. So that's what I am going to do. That is today's job. So one of the things that I noticed was online, there are no directions. I see no videos of how to take the dashboard apart. So I'm going to try to actually make a little bit better video and go through step by step how to take this dash apart. So I printed off the instructions on replacing the dash in a 944. It says it's not overly difficult. However, it's tedious and a lot of patience is required. And you know me, I'm just Mr. Patient. So this should be fun. So I'll follow this step by step. And I will try to record as much as I can. So the first thing it says is to disconnect the lead negative battery, but I have no battery in the car at all, so I'm good with that. Second thing is to remove the steering wheel. So I think I will do that. However, this car has one of those dash covers on it. I mean, it actually looks pretty good. I mean, I really didn't notice all that much. I guess when you really kind of look at it, you can tell. But I tried to just pull it and it cracked anyway. So, I mean, I'm just going to rip this thing off also. And then we can get into all the nitty gritty. Fortunately, you know, the center console and all that stuff is out. So removing the actual dash, I don't think should be that difficult. Famous last words. So we'll just go from there. I'm going to try to use a different camera. This is my phone, but I'll try to use a different camera for certain things. And as I go through step by step, I will try to record it. Okay, so the first direction says to pull on the horn pad. Might have to give it a little tug, but not too hard because you don't want to break that wire. So that was easy enough. And then just disconnect that wire. Part one done. Second thing is, it says take a 24 millimeter socket. Looks like I'm going to need an extension. And well, it says 24 millimeter or 15/16. So I got a 24 millimeter, but it looks like I'm going to need extension. So I'll get that and I'll get that nut broken. All right, so I'm hoping that you guys can see this stuff, but 24 millimeter breaker bar. And there we go. So, just a medium-sized extension. And I'm just going to take my ratchet. Oops. Okay, so the steering wheel's loose, so one of the things I also learned was don't take the nut all the way off, because if the steering wheel's stuck and you take the nut off, and you go to pull that, you're going to hit yourself in the face. So leave the nut a little bit on, but this feels like it's moving back and forth. So I'm just going to finish taking this off. Nut is out. Steering wheel is off. So there is a washer in there as well. So nut and washer. So that took all of what? A minute. So that's good. I'll put this aside and we'll step to the next section. Okay, so it did say to mark the splines on the steering column to the steering wheel. Not exactly sure why, but I would assume that would be for the orientation of the steering wheel. But my steering wheel was straight, so I didn't do that. So the next thing is I'm going to get this off, and hopefully, you know what? I might take this off and these off first. That way when I'm yanking on this, I don't break those. So let me work on doing that. Okay. So the next thing says under the dash, disconnect the 3 plugs for the turn signal switch, wiper switch, and ignition switch. Assuming this is the ignition switch one. I see 2 more wires going to it, but I don't see how to disconnect them because they kind of go up and in, and I can't pull them out, and I just don't want to rip on them. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove, it says 4 screws. Remove the 4 screws that hold the turn signal, wiper switch assembly to the steering column, and remove the assembly. So that's these. But I only see 3 on mine. 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to remove those, and I'll pull it out gently, and I'll see if I can see how to detach those wires from the back once I have it out. Okay, so I got it out, but what I ended up doing was these 2 screws on the bottom. I took that out. I was able to wiggle this off, and then, so here's the 2 other clusters. Look at how nasty that is. This is why I wanted to pull all this stuff out. So I'll disconnect those, and we'll get that assembly out. So actually, real quick, there's a 4th line coming in. So I got to disconnect this one also. So there's the wiper. There's the turn signal. There's the ignition switch. And I don't know what that is. Maybe the horn? Oh, I don't know. I don't know what that one is. But yeah, so there's actually another wire coming in back here. All right, so we got the assemblies out. There's the wiper, the turn signal. There's a total of 5 screws. 3 of them holding these on. You can see it. 1, 2, and 3. Then, trying to think. This one came out first, and this one came out second. And I was able to pull it out far enough to get that off. And that's where that mystery switch comes in. I don't know. I don't know what that's for. It's the weirdest thing. But, all right. So we'll go set these aside. Okay, so we got that out. So now I'm going to work on trying to get this out. And I don't know how that's going to go. So I'll work on pulling it out, and we'll go from there, and I'll maybe just show you as I progress through it. So, all right, well, that was a lot easier than I thought. All I did was pried it off of here. Boy, that's a lot of glue. And that just started pulling, and it just came right off. But look at all that nasty bugs, and oh, it's just gross. So I'm going to clean that up, and then move on to the next thing on the list. So Awesome. Okay. It says remove the 6mm Allen head bolt for the ignition switch underneath the steering column. And then remove the long plastic spacer from the steering column followed by the ignition switch. And then remove the plastic trim piece from the steering column. I think that's what I already removed. But so we'll do the 6mm bolt, or 6mm Allen head bolt from the ignition switch, and the long plastic spacer. Okay, so I did want to just show this. So what I ended up doing was I actually ended up using a ratchet with the bit on. There's a hole right there. And then you can see that hex nut. So that's where that is. All right, so I took the bolt out. And what I ended up doing was I just used a pair of pliers to take this plastic, pull that out, and then just took a hammer and lightly tapped on this to get this off. So, problem that I ran into though is in here there's like a plastic piece that goes around it, I'm assuming to hold this tight up against that column. And when I took it out, I mean, it just crumbled. So I'm going to have to see if I can get that piece. Hopefully I can just get that plastic piece. But that could be why that steering wheel was a little loose also when you were kind of jiggling it. Because I didn't find all of it. So some of it was gone before I even got in there. So, and I don't know. I'll see how much an ignition switch is. Since I got this all apart and everything and it's sitting right there, maybe I just replace that, but I don't know. So we will see.